Will Season 5 save New World and return it to the glory that it deserves? Yeah, probably not. That's obviously a joke. I'm honestly surprised New World is even still around at this point.
Hoi! New World Season 5 has been announced and it's actually coming with a lot of good news, a lot of interesting news, and a lot of things that will make the game more interesting.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. After seeing the expansion that added a grand total of absolutely nothing no one cares about except a poorly optimized mount that was rigidly bugged and poor and immersion breaking and whatnot. I I don't think they can do anything. Okay, they completely have been fumbling the bag with this game for such a long time. I don't think it's possible.
Did not quite expect as much with this season, and there's at least some stuff here that I think is worth looking forward to. Now, we got information both from a post as well as from the dev talk, and they kind of add to each other. They give a lot of information that the other one doesn't give.
So this is PvP, and if you don't know what that means, it essentially means, yeah, this probably looks like kind of almost interesting, but the reality of this situation is the guys that these guys are chasing are effectively immortal unless they decide to stop and fight. Because if someone just decides to run away, yeah, there's pretty much nothing you can honestly do in New World. You have some skills that actually can be used as charges, but, your opponent is probably still just gonna run away. There's almost nothing you can do. If someone's running from you, good luck, have fun, probably not today, Chief.
So I'm going to give you both summarized somewhat. First of all, an announcement from the dev talk, which is that the announcement was delayed. So the big May roadmap update will now be happening in June. So even the roadmap for the roadmap was wrong, I suppose. Not exactly a good sign there, of course, but on the other hand...
When in doubt, roadmap out. That is a classic. I mean, look at Fallout 76, it had a roadmap. Oh wait, Fallout 76 is still garbage and dead. Oh, maybe a roadmap doesn't do anything.
It was just news that they were gonna announce. I was assuming it's gonna come 1 month later anyway.
These bad developers like Amazon Games and other garbage dumpster fires like Bethesda, they think adding a roadmap is gonna save their games because, they think a roadmap and, the promise of maybe something not trash is gonna be the saving grace. No, roadmaps should be used by games that are good. So people can keep being excited about all the new good stuff, the new interesting things that they are gonna receive. That's what roadmaps should be added to. Good games. Not failing dumpster fires that are trying desperately to clinch to people's hopes.
Ways. So I guess it'll just be announced when it comes or whatever, because it seems, so far at least, that this season is going to be the regular 3-month based on all the information that we have. So I'm not really sure exactly this will really change other than us getting the information a little bit later. We'll find out. Other than that, there are also 2 changes coming in this patch that are not in the written notes, but that I think are absolutely worth pointing out. On one hand, that is magnify. Now, magnify will work in a way where you choose the attribute that all of your magnify points will go towards. You can't choose to distribute them between all of them or split them or something, but you can just choose the attribute that they go into and you can switch that, so magnify is going to be a lot easier to use. What they didn't mention are the current stat split system for magnify, if they're going to be removed or if you are forced to assign magnify yourself. But either way, I think overall it's going to make the whole system a lot more effective, sustainable, less annoying in most situations.
Why is his graphics just glitching out? Dude, this is like, is this new world since, the start of the game impossible because he's using the flail, but why are the graphics just glitching out?
The cost for Respecs has been reduced to 50 coins. This is great news for everyone who's testing stuff frequently respecking. I was
True. I mean, a lot of people respec in this game.
Kind of
Hey, I got to maximum level, and then I quit the game because maximum level kind of sucked.
hoping they would go with the Azoth route, but I think 50 gold.
Dude, You know what's the worst part about New World, honestly? It's the fact that if you try to play this dumpster fire, okay, you get to maximal level, that's fine. But what do you do at max level? You have no clue what you're supposed to do. You try to find, the game doesn't tell you anything what matters. The game doesn't even tell you if you have uncovered all of the dungeons and places that you can enter because, reasons, I guess. And when you try to look online what you're supposed to do, Google doesn't find anything, and YouTube guides are just horrible for new player experiences. How are you supposed to progress your stuff at 60? I don't know. There's these. What I forgot what it was. The pearls or the what are they called? In the Azot Forge or whatever it was called. How am I supposed to know what's the best one to upgrade? I don't even know what upgrading actually does. Does it just increase the base stats, the general stats? Does it unlock something when you upgrade it? Dude, you have absolutely no idea what's happening in an endgame when you reach max level, and it is annoying. And when you go to YouTube, your best video is a 40-minute long video where the first 30 minutes that I found when I did this like a year and a half ago or whatever when I was playing New World. The first 30 minutes of the video is just some rando dude talking about stuff that doesn't care. And then in the last 10 minutes, he actually starts explaining what a new player has to do in the game to actually level up his gear and what's smart and what isn't. And even then, that information is not decent enough. It is so unbelievably frustrating. The New World guide to players... Like, okay, there's a thing that's called hand-holding in games, and there's doing too much hand-holding and not doing enough hand-holding. It is like Destiny 2 when you're a new player, you're playing the game, and the game is notifying you that you have received something and you can't access that inventory, and turns out that thing only matters at max level, and you're like 20 hours away from actually even... being able to use these things. But the game constantly notifies you that you have acquired a thing that's, only usable 20 hours in. It's so dumb. So many games just need to completely rework their new player experiences and, their guiding and helping hands, how people are supposed to understand what the hell are they supposed to do. Like, New World is one of them, 100%.
50 coins is so cheap that it's no longer really a big concern anyways. And that brings us to the announced changes and upcoming content. The update will be releasing on March 12th, and the first piece of major content that we're getting here is of course the trial that they already talked about, the Winter Rune Forge.
This looks already bad, you know why? Because I can already tell it's just another reskin from an already existing mob. And one of the greatest memes that New World has ever given gamers is the fact that New World has literally like 3 monster types. So there's undeads, then there's dogs and wolves, and then there's bigger creatures. That's it. There's literally just like 3 or 4 monster types in the game. It's absolutely crazy. And all of them have the pretty much the exact same animations, and they do pretty much the exact same things. It is absolutely crazy.
10 max level player trial, mini raid, whatever, that will require teamwork to overcome rune puzzles, slay an icy construct, and fell an ancient ice guardian for unique rewards. Now, what we also learned about this is that it is somewhat like hatchery and should not be as difficult as Sandworm, but they said it's probably like a little bit more on the pug friendly side, but still challenging. So there's a lot of positioning required, for example, and you need to solve these puzzles, which I'm assuming is going to happen within the fight as well. I'm guessing this is not going to be too hard overall, just because this gates certain rewards that would really upset people if it was too hard to get, being some dark matter, but more importantly, new artifacts, which can drop twice per week. And after that, you have bonus rewards that you can get as many times as you want, so you can farm it more often, but you don't have the chance for the artifact, apparently. So with the new artifacts, there's also...
So, you know what he's saying? He's also, again, highlighting a problem of New World. New artifacts! Minor buffs that not a lot of people honestly care about because who gives a shit? And the problem with these artifacts is, well, it's new artifacts. For you to do what? The same old things that you have been doing for, 2+ years that New World has been around for. Kinda sucks. New World needs new content, new places, new dungeons, new everything, honestly.
Also another change.
And a dungeon finder would be awesome, not gonna lie.
That is worth noting, which is that you now can have 10 active artifact quests at the same time, so that's gonna be way less annoying. Not sure why it took them so long to make that particular change. There are 8 new artifacts, 6 of which were already shown on the show, but then 2 more on top of that. I will discuss the artifacts in detail in a separate video, so just a very quick overview here at this point to talk about them as they are and not how effective they will be.
I have no idea what Empower is, but the fact that it expires 200% faster for only 20% more damage, I have no idea what Empower is, but I can already tell that this is probably one of the worst things ever.
So first we have Sden, a hatchet with corruption that makes debuffs last 25% longer. It works on both of your weapons, so might be...
Also what I hate about New World? It's the fact that, oh, your debuffs last 20% longer! But the debuffs only last 4 seconds. 20% longer on 4 seconds is nothing. Well, it's... Who gives a shit? Again, yeah, this is New World's one of the... there's... In my opinion, there's honestly 2 big problems in New Worlds. One, the numbers make absolutely no sense. The increase of 3%, they have a lot of increases of 3%, 2%, 20% debuff durations. But when a debuff only lasts 2 seconds, who cares? 3% damage on 1,000? Wow, mind-blowing. New World needs to completely get rid of all of that garbage and, well, pretty much honestly start anew as far as I'm concerned. And the second is animations. Dude, in New World, combat actually feels really good if you're essentially 2 or 3 shotting the enemy. You press all your buttons and it dies. Combat feels absolutely painful and pitiful when you don't do that. If an enemy has more HP than that and you're on cooldowns now, yeah, suddenly, a combat feels extremely dissatisfying, poor, and frustrating. It's an extreme duality.
Some kind of...
And increasing the attack speed by 50% for everything by default would be such a great thing.
Utility there, and it also has Defile, which deals 2% more damage per debuff on the target, which shows up on other weapons too, so this may actually just be a mistake. Either it's a bug on other weapons, or it's actually not a unique perk on this and just a new perk. I don't know. One of the two. Then we have Venom, a spear with the poison tip perk. Heavy attacks with either weapon cause poison, dealing 20% weapon damage for 5 seconds.
Does anyone even use heavy attack? Oh, well, yeah, probably, right?
Again, obviously with interesting synergy with other weapons. Overall, I think more interesting than the hatchet, when the hatchet is kind of going in the same direction as the previous hatchet, was also kind of focused on throwing playstyles. We have Tempest Fury, a great axe with the...
Okay, I think I don't really care about this too much. Let's move on to the other things that they improved.
But more importantly, we have cooking and other trade skill changes.
Okay.
So I mentioned updates to ingredients, revamped cook.
They need to also revamp the trade skills. Their system isn't necessarily bad, by the way. It's kind of enjoyable how much things they honestly have and whatnot. The best part about New World is just finding a piece of ore and just swinging away at your pickaxe at it. That is honestly, unironically, the best part about New World. Everything else is kind of like lackluster shit. But yeah, the trade skills aren't that bad, but the crafting trade skills, man, those are horrible, okay? The UIs are clunky, messy, and annoying. Experience rates. There's so much they need to fix with crafting skills.
Cooking progression, legendary fish recipe tweaks, and the removal of split attribute food and more. They'll have additional details to share in a future deep dive article, and they're also going to do a video specifically on that. So generally what they're doing is they're greatly cutting back on the amount of different recipes just to make things less messy, and also tuning the XP curves to overall make it smoother and quicker to level. They're planning to do similar things for other trade skills based on the feedback that they're getting here in the future, so that could be interesting. And with the split stat foods, with removal, they're converting those into the primary stat of the food. So for example, if you had strength and focus food, that would turn into strength food of the equal tier, which means that most of it won't have that much value unless they make further changes in that direction, because banana tier would still be above all of those anyways, and there is no split stat version of banana food at the moment. Crafting and gathering foods will only have one tier now, which greatly declutters things, and the level requirement for those will be lowered correspondingly, so that things are less messy in that regard. The combat and animation system.
Okay, so essentially they changed nothing. It still stays what it is.
Is getting an overhaul. The combat rework is finally here.
Ooh.
And they do expect some issues with that. So they say that the code is now natively compiled.
Gypsium. He just received a drop of Gypsium. Gypsium is the thing that you use to upgrade weapons.
Compiled C++ code, which apparently, according to them, just translates to that things being way faster in general, and fixes also being deployable faster. So they say that these changes that they've made are especially beneficial during high player density, for example during wars or OPR. They're redoing the core scripting for animation and combat logic, which they hope will lead to improved performance, be much more debuggable.
Performance? Who cares about performance? Give us actually just, new attacks, so it feels better.
Bugs are easier to fix, and desync should be easier to fix.
I don't think they're honestly gonna fix bugs, okay? When I was playing New World, again, year and something ago at this point, I think. Dude, the main storyline quest was bugged. And it was bugged for a month straight. Every day, people were talking about, is the main story quest still bugged? Yes, it is. I don't know what it was bugged with, but the fact that your main storyline quest is bugged, and it's literally bugged for, well, it was bugged less than a month, but dude, the fact that that can be bugged for more than 3 weeks straight is insane, okay? That is absolutely unbelievable.
They say there may be an initial hump while they're trying to iron out kinks, and the day one improvement won't be dramatic, but improvement after that will be much easier, which makes sense if they're switching to a different system. So there will be some bugs, there will be some problems with some animations that are probably not working right. And once
what's pretty crazy about this? The crazy part about games like New World, Fallout 76, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and all of that garbage, right? The crazy thing about this is, if you pay attention to what words the developers use for updates like this, when they talk about what's coming to the game, you can very clearly see the fact that developers think that there's nothing wrong with the game, okay? Because they're not changing any core aspects of the game. They're just like, we're gonna make it so debugging is easier. Yeah, that's the big update, guys. Now, these games are dead, okay? New World is pretty much as dead can be, honestly. No one plays it, no one likes it, no one cares about it. Same with all the other trash tier games like Fallout 76 and Suicide Kill the Justice League. And when you hear developers talk about this, the updates, and them writing stuff, you can very blatantly tell that they don't think that there's a problem with the game. The base game, everything is fine. But why is the game not popular? Why does everyone just hate the game if it's fine? May I ask? How is that possible? How can the game be fine by your admissions as developer, but no one plays it and everyone considers it garbage. How the hell are you calling it fine? You should be making dramatic, sweeping changes literally every month until you start hitting what needs to be hit, even if it's random.
They've sorted those out, and that is something they can do quicker, that they can then improve upon that quicker as well. And they also say that overall this will have a reduced memory footprint on both the server as well as your own client. As promised, controller support is coming, and there's quite a lot coming with it. They say this is a first step, of course, but they already have, for example, a virtual cursor for menu selection. They call it like a radial wheel for quick access of certain things, which I think increases the usability on a controller quite drastically. There's unfortunately no remapping for controls yet. That is coming later. You can also see that there are various other settings.
So they finally add controllers, and you can't even remap them. Again, great updates.
Here in terms of movement, target lock, aim assist, and all that. A lot of this is now AI only. So aim assist and enemy target lock is AI only. Target friction is the only thing that is controller only, but target friction by itself usually is less of a problem because the precision with a mouse is naturally higher, so the target friction is kind of just offsetting that a little bit. Again, this always depends on aggressiveness and everything, but generally I think as long as most of this stays focused on AI, it won't really have much of an impact on PvP unless people find a way to make it apply to PvP anyways. There are also some other changes, like for example, use camera direction for melee attacks. This allows you to face somewhere else and use a block, for example, and then your character will block in that direction. Whereas at the moment, if you face somewhere else, if you turn your camera while standing still and then you block, your character turns toward where the camera is facing. Could be some use cases for this, could be interesting, but yeah, this is primarily something useful.
Again, it's like, this is a season. This is unironically what they call Season 5. Does anything of this sound actually impressive? Does any of this sound interesting? Does any of this sound like you're excited to go back into the game and play it? Hell no.
For console. The main story quest is fully updated to level 60, so that includes Ebonscale Reach and Shattered Mountain. There are 2 new soul trials, and all of the quest line can be solo now. One of the biggest PvP changes that we're seeing is one that was originally tested in PTR, and then they initially thought that they shouldn't do it. I said they should absolutely do it, and I think it will be a great improvement, and that is mounts in Outpost Rush. This means there will be more backcapping, but this drastically cuts down the time that you spend walking around and walking from point to point, and increases the time that you're actually experiencing PvP. So I think this is very good for the mode, and I'm very hopeful that...
This was not a thing at the start? That's crazy. Every PvP game allows you to do mounts, and what did New World think? Oh, we're gonna be special and not allow you to use for you to use mounts and BGs? That's so stupid. Amazing. Also, I farted and sneezed at the same time. I should have farted, sneezed, shat myself, and vomited. That would be a quadruple. Oh, that was insane. I wondered if you could hear the fart. I think it was pretty audible. Man, that was a ripper. Anyway, I mean, that's the way you're supposed to end a video where you look into New World. That was horrible. Anyway, Duke Slot. New World is, I mean, it's New World. What did you expect? This is worse than Diablo 4. This is literally worse than Diablo 4, and that's a big ask. Anyway, this is because says have a good day. Bye-bye.